Welcome to Deep Thought, the greatest enemy. You know what? Going through life, we feel like when we don't succeed or something, we always blame it on they or them or those people or on, on a spiritual being of great power that, despite people saying that, God is all powerful, they act like this being is of equal power, and for the Christians, that's Satan. For the Kemetic people, it might be Set, though they're not really equivalent for some people who are familiar with both systems, right? And, we'll say that's the great enemy, or we'll say some demons, or just that pesky neighbor, that racial person. Black people say it's the white man. Right? The white man will say it's the Jew. And the Jew, they just blame themselves. I asked the Jew that. I said, well, damn, black men blame white men and white men blame Jews. Who do y'all blame? He said, ourselves. Shit. Yeah. I heard a Jewish joke. I shouldn't say it, though, because I'd probably get flagged or something on it. It was funny as hell, though. It was like this Jewish guy was doing an impression of a Jewish faith healer. And he said somebody would bust in the room and say, "Rabbi, my foot." And the rabbi looked at him, "Your foot? My knee." That's for people familiar with that. Anyway, right? Now, you know what? The greatest enemy is not without in front of us. The greatest enemy is not that outside person. Even if someone do you wrong, they're really not your enemy. Even that person who seems to make it their mission in life to torment you, they're not the greatest enemy. The greatest enemy is within. The greatest enemy is in you. You go to sleep with your greatest enemy every night. And see, the power that this greatest enemy have is false beliefs about the reality. See, I talked about perceptions before in a video, right? I talked about perceptions, how people have certain perceptions and, different perceptions and stuff. But what it is false beliefs about reality. And there's 5 general ones. If y'all, I believe I talked about them in one of my paid videos, but I talked about them in context of a relationship. But I'm not going to really go over them specifically in this video. Just check that out. Just check out those videos where I did that. They're in my paid list. But what happens is there's 5 general, because everybody has a variation of their own false belief. It's basically some type of trauma happens to them, and they think this is the way of the world. This is what's happening because of their perceptions and because of the real law of attraction, where people will seek out situations that validate whatever beliefs they had. They think, okay, this is it. This is what's happening. But think about that. If you having a false belief and you keep getting in bad situations, you can't change the people. And some people, they might even try to change mates or something and say, well, I keep having this problem. It's these men's problem, or it's these women's problem. They have an issue. Something's wrong with them, which is actually one false belief. Like a lot of relationships, you'll have women who will say all women are bad, they're evil, and they're just inherently evil. That's a false belief. That's not a reality. Because if that was a reality, every person would say the same thing. Every single person would say the same thing, but every single person doesn't. Because just like one will say, hey, all these women are evil, all these men are evil, somebody else say, oh, no, they're great. Can't trust them, but they're not evil. While somebody else will say, no, they're not to be feared in that way, but they all out to get me. That's a false belief if somebody goes through life with a victim mentality, and that's really what stopped them. They thinking no matter what they do, somebody is going to stop them. Somebody's going to lock them up in a mental prison or some type of prison. And you'll notice that with people who have a victim mentality. They feel like, no matter what they do, they feel like somebody's going to stop them. Somebody's going to get them. Something's going to go wrong. Like I corrected my son one time talking about, he said something about having some bad luck, and I corrected him quickly. And it was just on for something small too. But I said, okay, let me nip that in the bud now. I say, dude, there ain't no bad luck. I forgot what it was exactly, but I said, I don't ever want to hear you say that. There's no such thing as bad luck. Really isn't. Just because you didn't get something that you didn't need anyway. It wasn't a life and death thing. It was just some little game cartridge or something he wanted. But I had to correct him of that quickly, because if that false belief that, oh yeah, I'm having all this bad luck and this is that shit festers. That shit festers, and then all of a sudden you got an adult thinking everything's gonna go against them, and because of that perception, they're gonna find instances where it does go against them. But people gotta face that. People gotta look at themselves in the mirror and say, well, what am I doing? Or what do I believe? Is this a true belief? Whatever my deep-seated belief is. And sometimes you can see it yourself. Sometimes you might have to have people you really trust, or a really competent therapist, or minister, somebody used to counseling people, who can say, hold up, this is what I'm seeing with you. Because that false belief will prevent them from having happiness. Like, okay, let me use that example again. You got men and women who think members of the opposite sex are just inherently evil. So, but those same people want to be in relationships. It's not going to happen. Because even when you get there, how you going to like successfully have a relationship or a sex life with somebody you think is evil? You want to do some vicious ass shit to them, because you ain't going to trust them. You ain't going to be able to sleep with them. You might be able to have sex with them, but then you're going to have a hard time connecting with them, because you always going to be expecting the other foot to drop. That's like telling somebody, oh yeah, go have sex with that demon. Go live with it. You thinking this person's evil or something, and you're gonna start doing stuff. Or another false belief, and I talked about this in that when I talked about the personality types, that you're gonna be abandoned by a person. And see, you get some people, because of that, they can't connect with a person, or they cling to a person. But it hurts them in such a way, because they're clinging, they don't give that person a chance to have some space, which they'll need. It gets on their nerves. It actually causes the other person to want to abandon them, because they're just getting on that person's nerves. And another part of that, sometimes they can be talkative or want to be in a business, or, they might have a false belief that their mate or cheat on them. You got people who have that. So what they do a bunch of stuff that causes their mate to cheat, actually. They create the situation, they constantly going through a phone, constantly asking questions. After a while, it gets on a person's nerves, and they just like, boom, And then, you got people, their false belief is they have to control somebody in order to get happiness from them. They have to control the situation. I know a woman like that now, and she always wondering why, she can't seem to get what she want out of a man. And I just say, you need to chill the fuck out. Stop trying to control it. Let it happen. Just sit back and relax some. But her very thing is causing, the very thing that she's doing is causing her to have issues. So the thing is, it's not that the men don't want to bother with her. She hasn't confronted her, looked in the mirror and said, this is what I'm doing. It could be a trust issue. If a person has a trust issue, or they have a belief that people will betray them, if they open their heart to them, what these people going to do? They're going to keep their heart closed. A person like that's going to have trouble finding a real connection, a real love connection, because of their fear that their heart will be broken. They're going to always protect their heart, and they're not going to put their heart out there. And see how that works. But see, I'm not, that the relationship thing that happens in life, like using the trust issue. You might be in a situation where you need to trust somebody, but you can't do it. Then it might prevent you from having that type of relationship where you can have nothing but positive outcomes. See how that works? So people have to realize, hey, if I'm having trouble, it's not them. It's not they who are doing it. It's within. Now I'll give y'all a secret with myself, because I ain't perfect with all of this. I'm that perfect. And one of the things I'm doing very well, I mean, it's almost ideas are coming to me and everything. I had to confront myself. I had to confront myself. I actually had a dream where I was fighting myself. Like I was like, okay, I gotta rumble with who I am. Right? I gotta get into it. It was like, boom, I had to be this. Because I was like, hold up. My ass should have been a millionaire by now. I should be talking billionaires. I should be on the cover of Forbes and stuff. Holding a bottle of moonshine. Probably would have started some company selling some liquor or something. I don't know. Nah, I wouldn't do that. That ain't me. But I'm just saying, could have been doing anything. And I'm looking at all these. There was a point, really, I was looking at other people. I say, well, if they just do this, or they do that, or this person do this, or this person cooperate, till I got to the point, I was like, you know what? Forget all of them. Because a big part with me, everybody always had some idea in which they wanted me to help them with, right? So I was thinking I needed somebody else for a long time. And I was like, damn, I ain't getting anywhere. Till I just looked at myself in the mirror and just say, hold up, Ron. You got to look at yourself. You got the skill. Not them. You don't need their knowledge like that. Now, they can help in all of that, or they can suggest stuff, but ultimately, you got to make it happen. So I confronted that belief that I needed to build with somebody. Right? Now I can build my stuff now. Now I'm at a point where, if I build with somebody now, I'm coming from it from a different perspective. But I had to look myself in the mirror and say, hold up, what's stopping me from doing this, that, and a third? I had to confront my own false beliefs. Now that I'm doing it, hey, things going well. And, just in life, period. I'm just like, and I said this in another podcast, sometimes when I'm just out and about, I just bust out laughing because I'm like, damn, I'm doing everything I want. And then stuff keep opening up. But that's because I had to fight myself. I had to fight that which was within me that was stopping me. Everybody has to look in the mirror. Like if and I get this in comments sometimes, people say they doing this and that. I already know they got some issues to work at. But when I get some people, they'll say, you know what, I got to work on this on myself, boom. And that's men and women. Like you get a lot of women out here relationship-wise. It's like, oh, these guys don't want me. It's like, no, what is it within you? Because you can control that. And tell guys that. That's why most of my relationship stuff for men is about self-development. And that's not even just for relationships, like for business, whatever. I mean, I've met so many people with some talent, but, for whatever reason, they got some false belief in them that prevents them from making that move. But you kill that false belief and start dealing with reality. Start dealing with the reality of a situation. Boom, it'll change. Like I tell you a big one, I see a lot of guys, since, like it or not, I'm going to be talking about relationships on here too. But just on a deeper angle. But you get a lot of guys who, I've had it in my comment. I get my comments every now and then. Like, oh, you got to be like this studly dude just to get women. And that's a false belief. Because apparently guys who aren't studly dudes get women. And that should be an easy one to debunk because you actually see it. But see, sometimes people see it. I was like, they must have money. I was like, dude, ain't that many millionaires running around. And they say it when they don't know the couple. Just the fact you see it, and with me, I'll just say I've known the couples. Forget just seeing them. I've known them, and known the situations. Shit, there's been a couple times. Yeah, Rom's had some wild stuff. I actually witnessed people having sex. It is what it is. All right. And you see if you see it, you sitting there, you seeing a man and woman having sex, and the man was unfortunately looking at a woman looking like supermodel of the world. Shit, you like, okay. Don't ask how that came about. Like I said, Rom got some wild ones. So anyway, right? Confront that false belief because that's your greatest enemy. Not some red being with a pitchfork and horns and all of that, or not some cabal of men sitting around making decisions on everything. They really ain't. And I need to do a video on that, but I don't know. No, I need to do a video because, talking about that cabal of men, so-called Illuminati and stuff, they don't control anything themselves. All they are shepherds. They just put up fences, and I'll put that out publicly. They ain't gonna care. They probably throw some money at me, shut me up, so whatever the case, but all they do is take advantage of people's own fears. They just got it alone. If people have a fear of something, they provide that fear and manipulate you, but they don't control you. So anyway, right, that's it for this one. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.